It's the leaning tower of journals. I'm like afraid to move it because it'll like just topple over sideways. Okay. I'm Marissa with Enchanted Ramblings, and this is my notebook lineup for 2022. Okay, so this is the third in my lineup videos. If you haven't seen the first two, I will put links somewhere down below, definitely. Talking through kind of how I use each different book over the course of the year and which ones kind of interchange. Those first two, one is my planners and one is my reference material. And so these are things where I actually do journaling in them, or like they're specific like project notebooks. So we'll get into some of those here. Let's start with the biggest ones because I think those are the most functional for sure. Out this out of the way. There's a lot of them. Okay, so this is a B5 from Archer and Olive. It's a dot grid. I've been using this since May of last year. I've been actually really impressed with, in spite of finding all the dog hair and stuff on it, how clean it stays, because usually the linen covers pick up a lot of animal hair, and I have 2 dogs, so anyone who lives with animals or tiny humans or husbands know that hair gets everywhere. And this is my therapy journal. So I have biweekly therapy appointments. I tend to do most of my brain dump journaling, like the daily journaling, in a different notebook, the things that need to get really explored or prompts that my therapist gives me at the end of the session, stuff like that, all goes into this journal so that I can sit down with her at every session over Zoom and really like dig into the things that need to be addressed. And if I have things come up where I'm having like a really hard day, this is the one I reach for, because I have lists in here of like coping mechanisms and things like that that I can give to myself as like self-care reminders. But also this is kind of where I do a lot of my processing. And for obvious reasons, I'm not going to flip through this book because there's a lot of really personal private information in here, but I really like having it as a separate book. And the fact that it is a bound book means that it kind of stays together really nicely. And this one doesn't get a lot of decorating. You can see from the pages, like there isn't really a lot of fluffing here. It's mostly just pen on paper because that's what I need it for. So this is my therapy journal and I love it and it's fabulous. And it does so many nice, wonderful things for me. This next one, I'm just going to tuck some tabs in before I show it because I should have done this a while ago. Okay, this next one is a Erin Condren notebook, standard lined notebook. There's some extra pages, right? I love the fact that her notebook pages are perforated. So if for whatever reason I need to pull one out and toss it away or something, I can just do that really nicely without it being rough. This is my course outline notebook, which is why I'm not flipping through to the beginning part of it, because this is where I keep track of all of the outlines and things like that for classes that I'm writing or courses that I'm collaborating on, things like that, where I want to keep track of the outlines separately, specifically, and kind of have them all ready to go. So this usually sits on my desk at home with my know-it-all planner and they are the same size. They're the 7x9 Erin Condren. So it sits really nicely together and they work really well together. They're kind of my functional in like business mode kind of notebook. The other one is this one. This is a Happy Planner Classic. This is the other one that I would consider my functional notebook. This one I consider projects, whereas this one is really about classes and courses. This one is more like Goddess Planner and printable projects and things like that. You can see I've got several tabs in here and some that I've sticky tabbed out. I have dot grid, I have lined pages in here, and then I just pull them around and move them based on whatever I need them for in the rest of the section as we build out the projects and the planning and things like that. So these two, usually with my Yoda planner, are really like Like that's my functional workhorse, like setup, those three. I've contemplated moving the project book into a bound book like an Erin Condren, but at the same time, I really like the ability to kind of flip flop around different layouts and pages. If we're doing like a big spread layout where I need to draw it out, like it's easier to do that on a dot grid than on a line, in my opinion. So I like having the flexibility. I think this was a Happy Notes book at some point. It might have just been an old cover that I snagged off of a different planner. They don't really say, but I loved the cover, and it says "Be Filled with Wonder," and I thought that was perfect. And then it's got these lovely navy blue rings on it, which never really seem to get full because this is mostly like do the thing and then the pages go away. Whereas this one I kind of keep around for reference in case I need to go back and look at an outline or something if I'm doing another course in a similar vein. Next up, we have my brain dump journal. This is a cover from Quinn Bouley, I think. Yeah. And I just thought it was really pretty. This like opalescent moonstone kind of coloring is perfect. I've got my little guys tucked in there. This is an A5 Stalogy half year, and I have several of these. I've kind of been going through them pretty quickly. It's just like a really basic grid notebook. And I like that because the grid is very small and I can either write through it or use it as a guideline. And then around it, I have this clear glitter cover from Lauren Phelps Designs. And I like the fact that it's got pockets so I can put little sticky guys in there without it like using the stickers, like those are vinyl. And then I have a little postcard from Primrose Corner. Yeah, that's Primrose Corner. But I loved that. And so this is kind of like my everyday, like daily journaling, brain dump, whatever, grab it, go for it, stick a pen on it. And the thing I really, really like about it is this cover folds over because a lot of times I do my daily journaling in bed. So I can flip it over like this and it kind of becomes like almost like a clipboard, you know, like a hard surface. Strap goes around the backside like that. And it holds it really nicely so I can, you know, flip to my next blank page, write as much as I need to. And I very rarely write on the back sides of the pages just because that sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. Depends on what I'm doing. But this is like my brain dump journal, my everything daily, like morning pages, like all of that goes into these little guys. And I love the half year because it doesn't feel super bulky and it fits really nicely in this cover. I do have a full 365. It will fit in this cover, but it gets a little bit thick on the spine. And then if I start to add things in, it gets chunky and then it pulls the strap more than I'd like. So using the half years in this guy works really, really well. And I love the A5 size for my regular journaling. This one I talked about in my reference notebooks as well. This is my Priestess Journal. I'm taking Priestess training through Mother House of the Goddess or Mystery School of the Goddess. And so there's a lot of notes that I usually have to keep track of. And this is kind of like my Priestess Grimoire. So there's a lot of information about like, you know, like this one's a page on oracle readings and then like my actual reading. And then some information on like the different holy days. And I've counted out enough days for each one. And like, so I've kind of been spacing things a little bit, trying to build out some information in here and really use this more as like a living grimoire of my priestess practice. But because it kind of bridges that gap between regular journaling and reference guide, I kind of included it in both because I feel like it matters to both. This one is interchangeable, but the purpose it serves is perfect for what it is. So I like to do scripting as a way of manifestation. And these are, I want to say they're Craft Smart brand. Let's see if I can find, it doesn't have a label on it. This is, I think it's a Craft Smart brand. I pick them up at Michael's. They're like $1 each. This is a B6 size, so it fits really nicely either into the cover with my Priestess Journal or into the cover where I usually keep it, is this one where it lives with my social media calendar and my call notes and class notes and stuff like that. So it fits really nicely in here. It's really cute. I have probably a dozen of these still that I'm working through, and I use them for writing affirmations or doing the scripting, like I said. And they're really slim little things. When they're done, I stick a label across the top saying like the date that I started it and like the purpose or what it was. And then I have a B6TN cover that's like a plastic PVC kind of thing. So I just hook them all into there as I go along, and I have yet to fill more than 5. I think this is the 4th one I've started. So I'm working on kind of adding that more into my daily practice as time goes on. These 3 are kind of like my magical journals in a way. They are these 2 are grimoires that are dedicated to specific goddesses. This one is Athena, who is my patroness goddess, and Hecate, who I'm taking a course, like a deep immersion course on Hecate. So I wanted to give her a book of her own. And of course, I couldn't pass up the brown keys. Like that was just so perfect for her. And so these ones I'm going to do in-depth flip throughs as I've kind of built through them. So you can kind of see like how I'm using them in conjunction with the research, but also with my devotional practices that I'm building out. These are both Archer and Olives. They are A5 dot grid. This one has a linen cover. This one is one of the Plant-Based Bride vegan leather covers. And when I saw the olive branch on it, I knew right away that that one had to be for Athena, because that's just too perfect for her. So these ones, and then I have another one that is my Goddess Grimoire where I fill in all that information. I'm going to be doing a whole like in-depth dive on that and how I keep track of those things and what I'm using them for and how I'm utilizing them in my practice, because I feel like that's kind of a different take on stuff. But this one is my moon journal. So this is a Scribbles That Matter, iconic in the bottle green. I loved the color. I wish at the time they didn't have this color in the solid cover, which I would have loved better, I think, than the embossed or debossed cover, but it's fine. It sits in a shelf most of the time. So this is one that has like, it's got like index pages at the front. All the pages are numbered. But this is where I do my moon journaling practice, where I have like different creative journaling stuff, things like that. I like this little flip outs. I love flip outs. I'm neurotic about them. You know, glitter, all kinds of stuff. So as I'm building out spreads too, this is also my playing journal. I skipped a few pages here for some reason. You know, just kind of some fun creative pieces. This was stamping and glitter gel pens and just all kinds of fun stuff to kind of really get the juices flowing. I've got about 2/3 of this book still. And one of the courses that I'm working on, I've been using the back pages for that. So this has kind of been like just a fun play with me kind of journal. And it doesn't really get done a whole lot. Whereas like my work journal, like my work notebooks and my daily journaling, those things that get touched every single day because I'm either taking them from one place to the next or I'm working in them, that kind of stuff. This one probably only comes out like once every month or so when I'm feeling creative or when I need a spot to play with spreads and like really practice them out before I put them into my actual notebook or my bullet journal. This is kind of that for me. So my moon journal is my creative journal. Then we have the minis. This year I've been taken by storm by all things tiny and adorable. I am a super fan of kawaii. I love the small, cute details, things like that. And I mean, let's be real. The A6s and the pocket notebooks are just too freaking adorable to pass up. So let's start with this one. So this is a pocket. It's an A7, not an A6, just to clarify that. This is a pocket size Archer and Olive. It came in one of the subscription boxes. This one is dot grid as well. See, it's got a very faint dot grid, but this is the journal / notebook that my daughter Alina and I have been going back and forth in. So we've kind of created like this ongoing letter notebook. It's called a dialogue journal, and we are using it as part of her creative writing, but also as part of her handwriting practice for the year for school. So it works out really well. She will leave a note, I will leave a note, she will leave a note, I will leave a note. So we kind of pass it back and forth. And it's just kind of been a fun little way to document like our inner thoughts and feelings and kind of explain things to one another. She had a really what's the word I'm looking for here? Emotional situation happen with one of her friends. And so she used this journal to kind of like write out some of her feelings and explain to me how she was feeling about it. We had the conversation in person, but I've been really trying to encourage her to write things down a lot more also, because I know that that helps me. And so because our brains kind of work similarly, I figured having some place where this is stuff that only I read, only she reads, like Colin, my husband, might see it passing around, but he knows that that's like private mom-daughter conversation notebook, and he respects that, and that's really important for us. So it's been really nice. And as her body continues to change, she's almost 10. I know that puberty is going to kick in here real soon. And as things start to develop along those lines, this will be a really good record for us to like see how things are progressing. I have the two others that came in this same subscription box from Archer and Olive, but they have dot or craft and black paper. So we're kind of not sure if we want to use those once this one's finished. We may just go into a different pocket notebook kind of thing, but we really like that size and the convenience of having it there. Got dog hair everywhere. Okay, so these two go together. This is my reading journal, and this is my notebook for all the books I want to buy in 2022. And I have a feeling I'm going to need another one by the end of the month, maybe end of the quarter, depending. And I'm going to do a full flip through as I set this up as well. I have already kind of marked out like which pages are going to be which, and kind of started to sketch in some of my logs and my spreads and things like that. So this is a project that I'm really passionate about this year. I've always kind of kept track of the books I read, but this is the first year I've actually put it onto paper. And then having this little one around is perfect because I can throw this in my purse. It also fits in the inside pocket of most of my A5 notebooks for my everyday carry planners, things like that. So I really like having just this little, and it's really slim. I think they came in a pack of 3. These are Hobonichi brand notebooks. This one's the Wish Upon a Star, and this one is just one of their little 3s. And they had a couple other colors. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like a blue and a green, and then this gray color. So I have some backups when this one eventually fills up with all the books I want to buy or read. And then this is obviously my reading journal for the year. So those ones are going to be fun to build out this year. And they live, let me put this one together here. So like I said, the little gray one usually just kind of moves around. It goes into my pocket or my purse or whatever. This one actually fits in the back pocket of this Salty Katie cover, which is like a really pretty fuchsia leather with jelly, sparkly jelly pockets. And this one sits in my bedside. So it's got my personal tracking for health and wellness. This is one that I'm using to track my mantra practice, which hasn't really developed yet. And then this one is my reading journal. So having them all together kind of makes it a nice little easy grab. And they all sit nicely on the shelf next to my bed. Okay. This one I've also mentioned in one of my previous videos, my planner video lineup, but because it kind of doubles again, it crosses that bridge, right, between planner and journal. For me, this is my Divination Journal. So this is going to be, oh, there you go, yellow, blue, and gray. This is the wish list booklet for all of the decks and cards and divination tools and things that I want to purchase or explore or look at this year. And then this is a Hobonichi Techo Day Free in the A6 size. And it's got like just tiny little calendars. It doesn't really need to have a whole lot of room. This is mostly just so I can mark down the cards that I pulled for every day. And then at the back, it has plenty of journal writing space. So I could go through and say like, oh, I did a new moon reading for the 2nd, right? And then I could put a page number here. And because all of these pages are numbered down in the corner, it gives me a quick reference to know where that reading is, where I wrote out the journaling for those cards that I pulled specifically on that day. So it kind of has like a built-in indexing system in the way that I'm using it, because I just mark it on the calendar day and then I can flip to that particular page. And if I run out of room, I can always get like a Stalogy or another one of these and fill it in the back. But that kind of bridges the gap between a dated planner and a journal for me, because they obviously it functions as both. And then the whole thing lives inside this gorgeous, gorgeous Leather Quill Shoppe A6 cover. Yeah, just stunning. I love the dragon leathers. This one is super fun for me. This is my commonplace book. This has really become my, oh shit, I need a piece of paper notebook. And I have already almost filled one of these. This is a newer one that I just stuck in here so that I wouldn't accidentally flip past things. But this is an A6 Stalogy full year. So this is 365 editor series. I loved the blue cover. This clear plastic. I don't remember where I got this one from. This might actually be one of the Hobonichi brands. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Midori. I have to look. I will look it up and put it in the description box below. And then a little vinyl cutout sticker from one of my favorite planner shops. It's no longer in business, unfortunately, but she was amazing. And then it's all inside a little Moterm croc pink cover. So this is things like books that I want to look at, things that need to get done, pen test pages, right? Like notes about different shows that are coming out. Like this one starts here very soon, so I need to go back and rewatch seasons 1 and 2 of Discovery of Witches, you know, things like that. To-do lists. I've also started doing some mantra work in here. So this is Lakita Japa, where you write out the mantra, and this is me practicing. More books, lots of books, and some more wish list pages, things like that. Like this was where I kind of plotted out my reading journal. Like so, and this is also where I keep my distractions list. I don't have one in here currently. But as I go through the course of the day, if there's things that are catching my attention that are dragging me away from wherever I'm focused on, I'll just make a little note of the date at the top and then write out the things that I'm distracted by. And then I can come back to this later on and pull those things out, put them in a different journal if I need to, you know, or look them up if there are things that I want to research, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of just a quickie little like jot it down notebook for me. And I really, really love this size. The cover is fabulous. It holds up really nicely. I can throw this in my purse. It's not going to get beaten up because it does have enough space around the edges where even the pen sits protected. Yeah, like this is probably the one that I've been using the most, and it's fabulous. And it's got pockets. So if I need something to go with me, or if I'm out somewhere and I just want to cram some little things in, I can do that. And I know that this is going to safely make it back to my desk and back into whatever need to be done. The other thing I'm planning to do in this year is do some more listing. I love making lists, but I want to do some more decorative listing. So I'm going to like take the page, washi, stickers, whatever, decorate it with all the, you know, pretty stuff, and then write the lists and things like that in there. And then I will have just some really lovely little notebooks at the end of the year that have filled up with all of my musings and random nonsense for the year, because that's where the mayhem starts. Some little notebooks like this. Anyway, that is my rather long-winded notebook plan, for lack of a better word. If you're interested in seeing flip throughs of anything in specific, if you want to learn more about what I'm doing with each individual notebook, some of them I will do flip throughs on. Like I said, obviously my therapy notebook I won't, but I'd be happy to talk about kind of how I'm utilizing it. I could probably pull some of the less personal things like the coping lists and my self-care things and things like that out of here and just do some quick shots of those. But really, this is how I function. I have to have a place to write it down. My brain works better if I know where it is. So things like Priestess information goes in that one. You know, Alina and I go in that one. Everything that doesn't fit into an otherwise category goes into the little commonplace book. those kinds of things. It makes it easier for my brain to process the information and for it to really absorb it and keep track of it. So if you are interested, like I said, let me know in the comment section below. Please like, subscribe, do the YouTube thing, and I will be back with more planner videos. I'm going to do a setup for my reference planner or my reference book, which I mentioned. I'm happy to do some flip throughs if you guys want to see those. And we will just take this year by storm. This is going to be the year where things get fierce. And that's one of my words for this year. So I've been really focusing in on things that help me mentally and physically and spiritually, and journaling and planning is one of those things. So, or I guess two of those things. I don't know. It's all of the things in my world. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and we will see you around. Bye.